Now, at The View, they also think inflation is a Republican issue. We have the video roll tape.
And so they are worried about inflation. They're worried about the supply chain coming in, especially with Christmas and Hanukkah approaching. And I think that price tag is everything to them. And one of the things was Biden campaigned on being a moderate. And he has this history of bringing the two parties together, which I think is what was so popular about him. And he really did woo the independent vote, so much more so than Hillary Clinton did. And so I think that you're seeing him trying to do that now in the last couple of weeks, really trying to bring back those skills that he has going between the parties and trying to get a deal done.
See, I disagree with that. That sounded very Republican of you.
No, it's very independent. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent.
But it sounded Republican. And let me say this. You know, there have been many studies about the rise of independence. And what those studies have found is that few Americans who identify as independent are actually independent. In fact, the study found that people who claim to be independent are actually less inclined to say that they're a Democrat or say that they are a Republican because of the stigma that's attached to it, especially after the Trump era. So they're not really actually changing their opinions or their views on politics. They're simply recusing themselves from publicly identifying.
Wowzers. Number one, inflation is not a Republican issue. I think anyone going to the grocery store or trying to get goods sees that. And then also, too, her analysis of what an independent is seemed a little off. I think people can be independents. They're not loyal to any political party. There are issue-based people. So that seemed pretty ignorant to me.
Yeah, Republicans are the only ones that care about rising prices. If that's true, then The View just made a whole bunch of people Republicans, I guess, because rising prices pretty much impact the majority of Americans, except for maybe, you know, the limousine leftists that are hosts on The View and threaten to, you know, dance if things don't go as they planned. It was a ridiculous statement, but this is how they think. And the piece went on. I mean, you're only showing part of the clip. They went on. Of course, you can't say bad things about, you know, their dear leader on their program. So they defended Biden. All the problems, they aren't really his fault. This isn't his fault. The rising costs and the way things are going, it's not his problem. And people just need to be more patient and understand that.
Eric, that sounded very Republican of you. Just kidding.
Oh, well, actually, it's independent, right?
Yeah. Now, over at MSNBC, Brian Williams actually said some truth. We'll play the video and react after. Roll tape.
I've always believed we should be more critical of ourselves. The press corps, the people we read and the people we see all day long on cable news tend to live in blue dots. No fault of their own. It's where their employers are located. But it helps explain why the press corps largely was shocked at the rise of the Tea Party, shocked at the election of Donald Trump. Out beyond the last exit for a Whole Foods, people have been listening to Steve Bannon, and Trumpers have been running for town and city council and boards of ed. And this is happening in town after town across what is still a very red country.
So he's admitting that many of them, all these pundits, are living in their liberal bubble, if you will. You know, they need to get out of New York City and out of Washington, D.C. and out of the studios and get some fresh air and talk to regular people and see what's going on. They probably haven't done it in a long time, if they've ever even done it.
Well, first of all, I want to mark down my calendar. This may be the first time I've heard Brian Williams speak the truth in a long time. Yeah. So I want to make sure we should make that a national holiday, perhaps lobby for that. But the other thing is, you said the thing that he didn't. You said maybe they should get outside of the bubble of New York, outside the bubble of D.C. If you watch the entire piece, he mentions this, but he never tries to resolve it. Instead, they go on and they decide that if you're a Republican, the reason all these Republicans are running for office locally is because, guess what? They're racist. Yes, that's right. That's why they have to run. That's where the piece eventually led.